hello you guys. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here and you've never been here before, I'm so glad that you found me. By the way, the reason I sound funny is that I have a white strip on, and yeah, today we are going to be talking all about sad. Nope, yeah, this is not gonna work. Okay, one sec. Okay, I'm back. So today we are gonna talk all about sad. And what I mean when I say sad is seasonal affective disorder, also called seasonal depression. I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted me to share with you how I have worked on my seasonal depression, how I've improved. Maybe improved isn't the best word, how I've managed my seasonal affective disorder. Overwhelming response from you guys was, please put this one in YouTube and share it. So here we are. I am multitasking and folding the boys' clothes while we do this because I'm a busy girl. I got lots to do. So if you don't know what seasonal affective disorder is, let me give you a little definition. Per the Mayo Clinic, seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is a type of depression that's related to changes in season. SAD begins and ends at about the same time every year. If you are like most people with SAD, your symptoms start in the fall and continue into the winter months, sapping your energy and making you feel moody. These symptoms often resolve during the spring and summer months. Less often, SAD causes depression in spring or early summer and resolves during the fall and winter months. We are rolling into February, and I will tell you, the end of January is when my SAD peaks. I mean, we're in the worst of it while I'm filming this. I'll just say that. I actually have a vivid memory of the first time that I experienced or recognized that I had seasonal affective disorder. I was in 7th grade, and I literally feel like a switch just flipped in my brain. I didn't want to do anything social. I had previously been very social. I was a cheerleader. I didn't want to go to cheer practice. I found myself just incredibly moody, crying, irritable, and I couldn't really put my finger on it. This was an intense feeling of depression. And I can just remember that winter honestly felt unbearable. I don't want to make light of SAD. I mean, I'm typically a positive person, but I don't want to make light of it because it is very serious and it can wreak havoc on your life. Ever since that winter, I have experienced it every single year, and like the Mayo Clinic definition, it's been like clockwork. It's funny because I started sharing on social media years ago my experience with SAD, and I have had so many ladies reach out to me and say, I have felt this exact same feelings, all the things you're talking about, and I truly had no idea what SAD was, but this makes so much sense. I really feel like it's not talked about as much, People will say they feel kind of gloomy or down at this time of year, but a lot of people don't realize that there is actually a diagnosable problem that is happening. And I feel like when you don't know about something, you can't properly treat it or manage it. And so my goal and intention really with filming this is to just bring seasonal affective disorder to light for some people who honestly may have never heard of it, or if you are somebody who struggles with it, maybe offer some tips for things that I have done to be able to manage my SAD. I'm gonna list off the symptoms really quick because if you're kind of listening to this and you're wondering what really qualifies for SAD, I just want to give you a rundown of what they say are signs and symptoms. Feeling listless, sad, or down most of the day, nearly every day, losing interest in activities you once enjoyed, having low energy and feeling sluggish, having problems with sleeping too much, experiencing carbohydrate cravings, overeating, weight gain, having difficulty concentrating, feeling hopeless, worthless, or guilty, and having thoughts of not wanting to live. Some of that is more extreme. I've never really dealt with the last one there, but I have certainly felt those worthless, terrible, low energy feelings where I just want to lay in bed all day and I don't want to do anything. I really remember when I was getting my psychology degree and we started talking about seasonal affective disorder. I already knew at that point that I had been dealing with it, but it was the first time that I actually gave myself permission to talk to a therapist about it. I'd already had a therapist, which I've shared regularly since childhood off and on, but really just for my anxiety. And in college was the first time that I was like, okay, I've really got to do something about this and help myself manage. I personally opted not to do medication. That was my underwear. However, there is absolutely nothing wrong with saying, you know, I need help with this beyond just, you know, therapy, talking about it. For me personally, I have always been a big believer in try and treat things behaviorally first and change your habits, change your behaviors, just try that. And then if it's still not getting better, that is when I will turn to medication. I've been able to avoid medication because I have really focused on habits and behaviors, and that is exactly what I want to share in this video, because maybe that's you don't really know what your next steps are. Maybe you just need some tips because you're feeling gloomy, but I want to share with you how I have been able to really help manage my sad symptoms. I will say the last few years have not been as bad for me, and I do believe that it's because of the things that I'm gonna share with you guys in this episode that have really helped me. Particularly this year, it has not been as bad. However, it's still there. I can still feel it. And knowing that I still have like a whole month is kind of scary to me, if I'm being totally honest with you guys, because once March hits, it starts to warm up a little bit. I am in Arkansas, which is important to note because I have talked to so many of you guys in the DMs that live in places where you don't get sunshine, you don't get warmth, and I'll be honest, I cannot even imagine. Like, this is exactly why I want to live in Florida, where it is sunny and I can go outside all the time. Literally, because I don't want to have to do this depression every winter. So once the boys graduate college, just so you know, you will be able to find me in Florida. I'm gonna drop some links in this episode's notes for you guys, just in terms of learning more about this. All right, so in this episode, I'm gonna just actually like show you guys some of the ways that I manage my seasonal affective disorder. Some of this is mindset and some of it is like actionable habits. I just want to shed some light on this and hopefully give you some ways to help you manage your sad as well. Something that's really helped me in my seasonal depression is creating a solid bedtime and morning routine. I used to just go to bed whenever I felt like it, get up whenever I felt like it, and having a routine, and especially one that I stick to, has been really important, and it's helped me so much. I've been starting my nighttime routine at 8 o'clock at night, getting the boys to bed, and then washing my face, brushing my teeth, and trying to get in bed by 8:30, definitely no longer than 9 o'clock. And I turn this light on. Full disclosure, you guys, I bought this light on Amazon for the boys for Christmas. I totally stole it. It is so peaceful, so amazing. It's just this little bit of joy in my evening. It just brings me peace. I turn out the lights, and I seriously just love this light so much. I just had to show y'all because it really is so amazing. I'll link it in my notes, but turning this light on and also turning my Calm app on. This is a meditation app that you can play music. So I will turn on this really low and get into bed and just start winding down, giving myself some time, reading a book instead of scrolling social media, and just allowing my brain to relax and set my alarm, get in bed, and get to sleep at a good time. Similar to the evening routine, I've also created a consistent morning routine that starts at 5:30 with a cup of coffee and actually getting back in bed so that I can sit next to my light. Light therapy is one of the best ways to treat seasonal depression. I'll link my light. I got it on Amazon in the show notes. And then I also play my Calm app in the morning, just get a good little coffee playlist going. And instead of getting on social media like Instagram, I choose to be a little more creative and get on Pinterest, create vision boards. This is just such a nice way to start my day. It's super relaxing. And on days where there is sunshine, I truly feel blessed to have an office that has lots of windows, but I make a point to get near the sun. Light therapy is great, but if I can get actual sunshine, I'm going to go for that for sure. something else that I think really helps me manage my seasonal depression is I really go for more whole foods in the winter. Lots of fresh fruit, fresh veggies. I do a lot more cooking. So I'm somebody who, of course, is all about balance. I love some convenience items, but I do step back from processed foods a bit in the winter because I just find that cooking from scratch and eating whole foods, getting that good nutrition in, really helps elevate my mood during a time where it is down and also allows my body to feel its best. So I really prioritize that good whole food nutrition while still, of course, balancing in treats. More thing I wanted to add about the, nutrition side of things and really taking care of myself is that I also limit my alcohol intake. This actually usually kind of works out really well because I don't have as many social events. I also am typically this is the time where I would be in a fat loss phase like I am right now. So it really works out. I really try and limit my alcohol intake because plain and simple, alcohol is a depressant and it can sometimes make that seasonal depression just feel heavier. Like while I'm having fun in the moment is not as bad, but I'm definitely at the age now where I am super hyper aware of my hangovers or even just how alcohol can make me feel the day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days after I've consumed it. Now, that does not mean that I don't consume alcohol at all. It's all about balance. But I am a little more careful with my intake and how much I am consuming. And it honestly makes the times where I do have it so much more enjoyable. What I do when I'm not drinking as much alcohol is I like to find just fun drinks and things like sparkling waters. I have found 2 recently that I'm obsessed with. The first one is very on brand and very fitting for February. It is this raspberry rosé prebiotic. Oh my gosh, I'm down to my last one. I've got to go get more. Prebiotics for a healthy gut, immunity sidekick infused with apple cider vinegar. Tastes so good. 25 calories for the whole thing. No hangover. Love it. Also grabbed this one from Trader Joe's. I haven't tried this flavor yet, but I had the other version of it, which I think was maybe raspberry also. Anyways, it was apple cider vinegar and it was freaking fabulous. 35 calories, sparkling water, apple cider vinegar, and then different flavors. So this one is the lemon strawberry. This is also fun because a lot of times these are sort of summery flavors and things. So definitely a little hack that I like to use, just having these in the afternoon, or I'll put it in a wine glass while I am cooking dinner. And I've never really been somebody that drank wine at home, but I don't know. It just adds a little bit of joy and excitement to my evening. Well, hello you guys. So one thing that I try and do whenever I'm really feeling my seasonal depression, especially if I'm feeling a lot of anxiety and overwhelm, is to purposefully and intentionally take some space away from things like work and all of the responsibility of laundry and dishes and house things, because I can start to get to a point where I really am so overwhelmed that I'm not getting anything done. And so I intentionally, during seasonal depression times, plan in ways to get out of the house. Really feel like this one's so important because one thing that contributes to my seasonal depression is that because it's not warm, I'm not naturally inclined to want to get out of the house. But I kind of have to force myself to do it. It's cold, it's kind of rainy today. I don't really want to get out of the house. It would be a lot easier to just cuddle up and stay in the house, but that's really not going to help the feelings that I already have right now. So I intentionally planned to take today and go to Trader Joe's, about 30 miles away. So that gives me some time to listen to some music. But I think it's so incredibly important to make some time for yourself, to be alone and to do things that bring you joy and get you out of the house. So I'm gonna head to Trader Joe's and have some me time. One thing I think it's really easy to do in the winter and in the depths months of like the seasonal depression time for me, especially working from home, but even just in general. Like, I feel like it's so easy to just like throw on a hoodie, throw on some sweats, which is like the most comfy stuff. And obviously it's cold, like it makes sense, but there's just something about, you know, putting on a cute outfit or doing your hair, doing your makeup. One thing that I will do is I will pick at least one day a week where I really spend a little more time on my hair, my makeup. Today's not the hair day or the makeup day, or it might just be that I put on like a cuter outfit for work. And there's just something about this, like psychologically, that just sort of elevates things, makes me feel put together during a time where I just feel like it's really easy to just sort of slum around or not take care of myself as much. The other thing I wanted to talk about was social media. And this is literally perfect timing right now because just feel like my social feeds lately, they've been a little bit down and depressing. One thing that is crucial to me and not making my seasonal depression worse than it already is not letting taking on everybody else's emotions, feelings, letting that affect me to the point where I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm stressed because I'm carrying that. It's definitely just important for me to protect my peace and not let scrolling social media for hours or like all throughout my day get me down. The thing with social media is it can be used for such good, but also you have to be careful about how much you consume and what you consume. For me personally, I had to remove all news outlets off of my social media. It's not that I don't want to be in touch with what's going on in the world, but I want to choose to actively seek that information out and inform and educate myself, you know, when I am in the headspace to be able to do it, instead of being like, yay, it's a great morning, I'm so happy. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm not happy anymore. Again, it's not that I want to shut off everything that's happening in the world as much as I just have to be careful about my mental health and carefully curating what it is that I see, what I'm filling my brain with every single day. This also goes for social media accounts. You know, I don't like to follow anybody that's negative. Anybody that makes you feel like we're all doomed, negative. Or people that are just unhappy and can't cheer for others or always have something bad to say, or I don't know. I know the kind of people that when I follow them, reading their content inspires me or uplifts me, or I just enjoy seeing their stuff. And I'm not afraid to hit that unfollow on things that don't bring me joy. And I always say, I hope that everybody does that. Not everything is for you, and curating what you follow, who you see, really does need to be personal to what it is that you want to be looking at. For me, also protecting my peace by not engaging with people who are out to stir up trouble, make me feel bad, do whatever it is they're trying to do. Unfortunately, this is just a part of life in general, but having a business on social media, putting yourself out there, I receive lots of DMs. 98% of the time, those DMs are amazing. We're having these awesome conversations. It literally like makes my day to open up these messages, but there's the other 2% of the time where someone just feels the need to give their opinion on my life, what I do, how I spend my money, telling me what I should and shouldn't be talking about. It's literally crazy that anybody thinks that they have that authority, but nevertheless, somebody will always send a message like that, and I have had to learn to block it. This has been a game changer for my mental health during seasonal depression times, because it's like I'm already struggling enough, you know, I don't really need all that added stuff. So just really being careful with social media. Lately, I've noticed I was getting a little bit like anxious, and I could directly correlate that I was scrolling too much on social, letting people get to me, things like that. So just a good little pro tip. If you are struggling, just monitor like how often you're scrolling, how much time you're spending on social media, because you also have to remember that it's a highlight reel. People aren't showing oftentimes behind the scenes, and it's really easy to compare like, wow, they're doing all these things, traveling, they're always happy, everything's great, but you don't really know what's going on. And if that's making you feel bad, just be careful how much you're consuming. If somebody told me I could only do one thing only to combat my seasonal depression, hands down, it would be exercise. It is so hard in the winter. Like, even as somebody who absolutely loves working out, that's why it is part of my job. Like, I love exercise so much. It's still really hard sometimes. Like, you still don't want to show up. The first year that I really got a grasp on my seasonal depression and felt like I was handling it the best was actually the year that I started working out. On years where I wasn't working out as much in the winter, I could easily see that my depression was worse. And it's just one of those things that you don't feel like working out in the winter a lot of times because it is cold and it is gloomy and it's just really hard. Like, you want to bundle up and snuggle up and just not go to the gym. Going and getting your blood flowing, working your muscles, doing whatever it is, stretching, whatever you like to do to move your body is an instant mood booster. Like, you never regret getting a workout in, but getting there in the wintertime is the hardest part. I actually created something for myself really early on in my 100-pound weight loss journey, which is what I call the 10-minute rule. And I have an entire podcast episode on this. I'll link it. But basically what it is that you are saying that even on days where you want to skip the gym, and I'm not referring to days where you're like legitimately sick or you have a legitimate reason to not go to the gym, like maybe you truly are very tired and going to the gym would only make things worse, like you need rest. But I'm referring to those times where your excuse isn't exactly legit, like you just want to lay on the couch or it's cold or it's rainy or whatever. You commit to at least showing up for 10 minutes, even if it's not the workout you had planned, 10 minutes of walking, or maybe it's doing, 10 minutes of your lifting session, like getting in the first set. And from there, you can kind of decide after 10 minutes, like, okay, I'm feeling better. Like, I'm glad I showed up for this. I'm going to keep going. Or if you legitimately are like, I'm done, you can peace out. Hands down, this has been such a game changer for me. And I use it all year long. It really keeps me consistent on those times where it's just so easy to give in to the excuses. But in the wintertime, it is way more important. Like, I just have to throw my shoes on, tell myself that I'm going to show up for the 10 minutes and get it done. And if I want to leave, I can. 95% of the time, of course, I end up getting the workout in. And in fact, most of the time, it's like one of the best workouts I've had for the week, because what I didn't realize is the reason I didn't want to go because I was stressed or tired. The workout gave me what I needed, like an energy boost or, stress relief or like a mood enhancer or whatever. And also, obviously, it keeps me on track with my goals. Today's definitely one of those days. It stormed all night. Arkansas weather's so weird and it's just gloomy and rainy and I didn't feel like getting it done, but I just pulled back up to the house after getting my workout in and I literally feel so much better. It's going to improve my mood for the rest of the day. I've actually got to go in and finish some of the band work that I was doing. And then I recently got a spin bike, and this is something I've been saving up for a long time, thinking about for a long time. And having a piece of cardio equipment at home, it's still very new to me, but it is really, really helpful because I live near a park, so I do a lot of walking when the weather's really nice. We don't always have that option when it's cold or rainy, so I've always just kind of done HIIT workouts, but thought that it was time to invest in a spin bike, so today's the day that I have that scheduled, so I'm gonna get that done as well, and just spin my legs. And I know that this will hands down be the number one thing that helps me manage my seasonal depression. Okay, for real, I'm gonna share with you guys one of my seasonal depression tips or things that I do that helps, and I'm being really vulnerable sharing this one because it feels kind of silly. I mean, I don't really think that it is. It just feels kind of silly, but it truly is such a game changer and helps me so much. All right, so something that I do, this really works more towards the end of winter because seasonal depression kind of builds and builds and builds. And so it's like the first little bit, it's a little more manageable. And then by the end, it's like unbearable. one thing that I do is I start looking at the future. So what I mean by this is winter just is terrible for a lot of reasons for me. We don't do a lot of social stuff, and even though I am quite introverted, I do still like having my extroverted cup filled, and being around people brings me joy. So definitely in the winter, there's just a lot more isolation. It's like you can't get outside as much because it's cold, right? So one thing I start doing is planning all of the fun things I want to do when it gets warmer. Literally start thinking about all of it. And this could be things like baseball games that are going to happen in the spring, or our beach trip. I always start planning our beach trip in February. Start kind of daydreaming about, days at the lake or outside. And really, I feel like this could apply for whatever it is that you like to do in the warm winter months. Maybe it's hiking, whatever activities it is that you like to do in the, warmer months. Start like planning that stuff and like getting excited. Even if it feels silly to be thinking about it, like our beach trip's really far away, just start like kind of putting that stuff like on a calendar where you can see it. I put everything on my calendar that I actually use for my business. It's like my project management tool, Asana. I put everything on that calendar because I look at it often. And so it's not in a calendar where it's like closed and I'm not seeing it, like my planner. It's more visible to me daily, and it gets me excited when I'm just sort of like scrolling through and I see like, oh, we've got a lake trip planned coming up for spring break, or oh, the beach trip, it's really not that far away, or whatever it might be. Just getting excited about it, having it on the calendar, thinking about how we're that much closer to this all being over. I think that looking to the future, looking forward, helps me so much at the end, because it's like, we're almost there. We've almost made it. Just keep going. There's like that light at the end of the tunnel. I will say, to go along with this, I do start looking at things like spring clothes or like swimsuits for summer, just things to get me like super pumped up and excited that those events are coming. It just makes me feel like when I'm taking action and like buying things for it, or even if I'm not necessarily buying it, but I'm like adding to cart or whatever, it just kind of makes me feel like, okay, like I'm actually thinking about these things. They really are close, and it just gives me that little bit of hope that we're almost there. This ended up being a bit of a lengthy episode, but I hope that if you made it to the end that you found this information helpful. I just want you to know that if you're struggling with this, you are absolutely not alone. Keep going. We've almost made it. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. It will soon be warm and the sun will be shining and the flowers will be blooming, and we'll have a whole new set of frustrations, bugs here in Arkansas. But you guys, thank you for watching this episode. In the next episode, I am going to make sure that I give you an update on my hottest, fittest bod goals. I'm super excited to let you guys in on how that is going. And I am going to share with you how I eat out Mexican food in a fat loss phase, how I track it, all that good stuff. So I will see you guys in the next episode.